What scam can you still not believe you fell for? I gave half my night's tip money to a woman who said her car broke down and she had to go pick her kids up from daycare. I believed her because she was standing in front of a car getting towed. I told someone about it later and they described her to a T and said, "Yay, that's Kimbo. You just bought her a week's worth of crack." I've met like 6 people since then that she's done the same thing to. When I was little, my grandma would take me to HR dentist for my regular cleanings. After the fluoride, she would tell me, "Now you're not allowed to have candy for a month because of the fluoride." She would get the dentist to agree with her. I believed this for a couple years until I mentioned how it's not fun having to wait a month to eat candy because of the dentist to my friends at school. I knew something wasn't right when I realized Noon knew what I was talking about. I went home and told her I knew the no candy after the dentist wasn't true. Her response was, "Well, I'm surprised I got away with that for as long as I did." I played RuneScape when I was like 14 with this kid named Sparky every single day. He was my good friend and I trusted him. We chat and cut logs all the time. He asked to wear my party hat before lending was a thing. It was a green party hat worth around 20 million gold at the time. After knowing him for like 2 years, he logged off and I never saw him again. Green party hat gone. I was sad more that I lost my friend over a dumb in-game item. That reminds of a great heist in EVE Online. A dude spent over a year intentionally befriending some top level players with top level ships just to use that trust to execute one of the biggest heists by a single player in EVE history by stealing their ships and some other stuff. One of the victims replied that he was just sad to lose a friendship over some spas of pixels. This reminds me of when a goon infiltrated one of the largest clans for over a year and cleaned them out the moment he got vault access and the rest of leadership was offline. I got pulled into an Amway meeting. When I was in college, I was working as a waiter at a Pizza Hut and a customer came in and struck up a conversation. Eventually he pitched me on a possible new job. He described it as kind of like an internship. The first red flag should have been he wouldn't give me any specifics other than something about running a business. Next he gave me a date/address of where to meet and he told me to dress in a suit. That also seemed weird since we were meeting at 7 PM. Who interviews at 7 PM? Anyway, I get there and about 100 other people are there. I was getting a weird vibe and I should have run at that point, but I was desperate for something other than waiting tables. After an hour of parading different motivational speakers, they finally announced they sold Amway to achieve their goals. I then went home older, wise, and destined to serve pizza for many more months. Not me, but a friend bought $20 of flour because a guy on the street told him it was cocaine. This happened to my friend in New York City. Bought $50 worth of sugar. He said it turned into the most expensive cup of tea. A guy I went to high school with scammed a town full of people in the next state over by pretending to be a Food Network chef. He claimed that he was setting up a barbecue in their town with people such as Bobby Flay and Robert Irving in attendance, then proceeded to charge $35 a ticket to the tune of $10,000. The charade fell apart when he did a presentation and people realized he had no clue how to make most of the stuff he was demonstrating. People did a little digging and realized he wasn't a chef and had never been employed by Food Network. The police agreed not to press charges if he gave everyone their money back. Edit. Here's the news article, although I'd agree that this would make for a great movie. My college, a state university mind you, got scammed by some dude who said he represented Lil Wayne. They paid a $30K deposit and started plastering posters everywhere about the show. Made it that much more embarrassing when the gig was up. Still can't believe they thought he would play in a lecture hall of like 600. In LEGO Universe, a guy told me he'd show me a cool glitch for 10,000 coins. I was young and stupid. Bastard took the money and ran. Someone tried this on me in RuneScape. He said he'd double any money I gave to him. Obviously a scam, but I decided to humor him because I was quitting the game anyway. I gave him 20k, he gave me back 40k, and then told me to do a higher amount since I could trust him now. I logged off. I'll never forget when I was a teenager in the 90s. I received an email about having a family member overseas. I asked my mom if I did lol, cause the email said I was entitled to an inheritance. Habbo Hotel 15 plus years ago. Through giveaways and smart trading, 11 or 12-year-old me had accumulated several pieces of furniture. Some guy told me he could double my furniture if I gave him my password. Being an idiot kid in a less internet savvy time, I gave him my info. He took all my stuff and told me I was a retard. I was utterly crushed that I fell for it. I felt like a complete idiot for days afterwards. Obviously not a big scam or anything, but little kid me learned a big lesson about learning to apply it out to weird claims or too good to be true promises. Back in the late 80s/early 90s there was an alien autopsy show on Fox, hosted by Jonathan Frakes, Star Trek's Commander Riker. I was a true believer. I thought for a long time it was a real documentary. Do you remember when the National Geographic Channel did that special on mermaids? Good God, I thought for sure it was real, because that channel wouldn't spread lies and propaganda. Oops. Guy at the gas station said he and his cancer-ridden wife broke down a mile up the highway, needed $10 to get them gas for a 30-mile trip to the city. I just got paid, was feeling rich, so I gave it to him. Went to the same gas station 2 days later, and the guy was there again with the same problem. Happened to me in Costa Rica. A French guy comes over panicked and says, "Do you speak English?" French. Me, yeah. What happened? Frenchie, I was robbed and lost all my clothes, wallet, passport, everything. I need to get the embassy, but have no money. Can you help me buy a ticket? I was backpacking and spending less than $20 a day, but felt the need to help, so I give him $10. We part ways. About 2 weeks later I come back from a trek, and there he is again with the same act. I was gonna deck him, and I say, "Oh no, seriously?" Letting him interpret it as sympathy. Then I say, "It happened to you again." And he does the fastest fade away I've ever seen in my life. Literally turns the corner and disappears. There is a guy in my home city who walks around with a gas can asking people for money because his car broke down around the corner. He asked me for $10 and I asked to see his car, and he took me on a walk for 6 blocks and got nervous and sprinted away when he couldn't figure out how to perpetuate the lie. He is a minor celebrity now in the area and everyone sees him walking around all the time with the same can and no car. Here was a homeless guy in the city I went to college in. The downtown area was right next to campus, so I would walk around a lot. I saw this guy at least once a month for around 3 years. The first few times I let him know that I never carry cash, only card. After that, he never asked again, just chatted. He would actually ask how I've been, I'd do the same, and he would tell me honest things about his life. So after years of not asking for money, he says, "Hey, I know you don't really carry cash, but I really need some right now. If I can get $20, I can stay in a hotel for a couple nights." I asked where it was, and he immediately responded. I thought about it a while, told him to wait there, walked several blocks making sure he didn't follow, went to an indoor ATM, and got $20 for him. Next day I saw him on the street again and he said, "Oh yeah, thanks man. I paid rent for 3 months with that." He looked more haggard than usual. I never spoke to him again. My older sisters told me eggs grew on trees. I vehemently disagreed. They made me plant an egg yolk. I came back later to check, and a stem had grown. Later, leaves showed up. I started to believe. I came back again, and they had put plastic Easter eggs filled with candy on the tree. Walked down the tunnel to DC Metro, and approached a ticket machine to get my Metro fare card. Found a well-dressed lady confused by the machine, and not quite a full English speaker. Convinced me to buy her a ticket as she was to meet her daughter at office downtown. Finally bought her a damn ticket, and then she asked if the ticket was enough to get her back too. Gave her an extra $5 as that's all I had other than large bills, and told her to be sure and have her daughter explain all this to her. Guess what? A few days later I went back to that same Metro spot, and she was in the process of scamming some other dude using the same story. I stood behind them until she played off the "will this get me back," then busted her right there. She gave me an excellent cussing for someone who didn't know English. I felt like such a chump, ready for any hard luck story. In 4th grade, someone convinced me to give them the brownie from my lunch in order to join the Pen 15 club. This is about scams, not murders. This was a close call at Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam. I arrived with my girlfriend, she's a photographer, and we stopped by to grab a burger J in one of those places from the arrivals food hall. My girlfriend left her camera on the table with me and went to the toilet. At one moment an old lady came from my left and started asking me stuff with an awful accent. I couldn't understand anything she was saying. By the third or fourth attempt I understood she was looking for the toilet. I didn't know where the toilet was, but my girlfriend was just coming back from it. From behind me, I saw and asked where the toilet was, but she was frozen. Like, what the hell is going on? I turned my back again to the table and there was a guy with his hands on her camera. By this time the old lady had already vanished. The guy pathetically moves his hand to the napkin holder and asks if it was ours. I don't even think he waited for an answer. He just turned and went away. It was all very quick. Took us some seconds to realize we almost lost the camera and the whole thing was a scam. Leave a like and subscribe PLZ. I'm desperate.